Vanakkam and welcome to San Francisco Bay Area Tamil Mandram. Today is the first episode of the Mandram's Empower Youth series. I am Supraja Saurirajan and I am accompanied by Srini Varipareddy to conduct today's event, which is a career panel discussion for students. We have with us 4 expert panelists who've been very kind to take their time and join us today. They will be sharing interesting aspects about their careers and the journey that they underwent to pursue those careers. We hope that our panel discussion today will inspire you, the students, to look at these various diverse career options and also kind of know what skills that you developed in your school and college can actually lead to successful careers. Now, I would request the panelists to introduce themselves to the participants. We would like to start off with Aparna Jujjiavarapu. Off to you, Aparna.
You're in mute, Aparna.
Vanakkam, I hope you can all hear me. Thank you. Appreciate this invitation to participate in this panel discussion. My name is Aparna Jujjiavarapu. I am from Chennai as a background and was born and raised there. I did my law in India, of course, high school also in India, and studied my basic law degree in India. I came here and did my master's in law from the University of Georgia in 2008. I have been, in 2006, I have been in California since 2008, practicing as an in-house counsel with an IT company here. And I primarily practice in commercial transaction law and negotiate IT software contracts. Back in India, I used to be a litigating attorney also. Very nice to be part of this panel.
Thank you and welcome, Aparna. Off to you, Nathan.
Vanakkam, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. So, my name is Nathan Ramanathan, and I'm a material scientist by profession. So, I got my PhD in material science from Max Planck Institute in Germany. So that was in the area of material science, of course, the nanotechnology, that's the area I did my PhD in. Then before moving to Germany, I did my master's in chemistry, electrochemistry in India, the institute called the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. Then after my PhD, I came to US. I worked at the US universities, the University of Tallahassee, University of Florida in Tallahassee. And also I worked for the US government labs, Department of Energy labs, as a material scientist in the Midwest, in Chicago, Oregon National Laboratory, and in Tennessee, Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Then I moved to California. I worked at Apple as a material scientist. Then now I am working at Google. So, yeah, I can help answering questions about studies in Europe, studies in India, or working or studies in Midwest in US, or in, of course, California, everybody knows here. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Nathan. We truly are living in a global world. Yeah, welcome to the panel. Off to Sridevi.
Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for inviting me for this great event. And I feel really honored to be able to share my experience and skills with the upcoming scientists, or, material scientists, or lawyers, or doctors, or engineers. The thing is not, it's unlimited opportunities that we can find here in Bay Area. And I'm really very happy to be in here, and particularly to be able to share my experience and background. Yeah, I was born in Chennai and did my master's in biochemistry. My background is focused on clinical biochemistry, working with specialists in medical research and medical practitioners to diagnose advanced diseases. So I started my career in India as a biochemist at a multi-specialty hospital where I led the endocrinology department. I then relocated to India and worked for over a decade with the National Health Services as a biomedical scientist in microbiology, hematology, and biochemistry. I later on, luckily, I don't know, I think when people say you have to be at the right time and the right place, I just moved to the US, and I worked as a scientist in Thermo Fisher, and I currently work as scientist in the R&D department in Roche. I hold a master's, and I hold an MPhil in biophysics and crystallography. And I would like to continuously keep updating my skills, and I do a lot of certifications, to be able to keep update with my professional knowledge. So I have not stopped learning throughout my career, and currently I'm pursuing an Associate of Science in Biotechnology. That's really short, and I'll try my best to answer a lot of questions from our students and be able to help them in my specialty. Thank you.
Thank you, Sridevi. That was a stellar, bio. Thank you very much. And now we're off to Ashok Panneerselvam.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and share my career and career path, and especially to provide inputs or insight into what I do and what our role is in the industry to the younger generation, and inspire them. Hopefully, I hope they get a good inspiration from this wonderful event you have organized. I am a senior director of biostatistics in Jazz Pharmaceuticals, and also head of the oncology biostatistics there. I have over 12 years of experience as a statistician in the pharmaceutical industry, and prior to that, I have a few years of experience in the academic and hospital setting as a statistician. I basically work on clinical trials design and analysis of those, and basically, my education is, I have a PhD in biostatistics from Case Western Reserve University in Ohio. Prior to that, I did a master's in industrial engineering from University of Alabama. And before that, I got my bachelor's in engineering from Usmania University. And also I did my schooling in Hyderabad, but my family is from Tamil Nadu. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ashok. Thank you for taking the time today. I think this being the first episode, we are very fortunate to have expert panelists from diverse fields, which is a great boon today, and very passionate to share their experiences with the youth who are multi-talented these days, and have so many different aspirations. And it'll be wonderful to hear from you about how you navigated your pathway into these awesome careers. So thank you for those great introductions. Now we would start off the panel with our set of questions. However, participants, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box. So the Q&A will be monitored by Srini, and he will have your questions addressed by the panelists at the right time. So although we will start with our questions, at any point in time we see questions from the audience, we will shift to those questions as well. All right, so I'm going to start with the first question to the panel, and we would like to hear the response from all the panelists. All right, here is the first question. So what type of problems or challenges do you solve as part of your work? Off to Aparna.
Hi, thank you for that question. I don't know if I would say problems. I don't think there are real problems if you think of it as a career path as such. It's, if you say challenges, I would say, law, at least in my field, is a subject of logic. When you're studying this profession or this particular professional program, I think the interesting part of it is that it is so much connected to what just logically is the way to be. I mean, the book of rules is written based on what exactly it is to apply them in your day-to-day life, and how, to have certain set of principles and processes for a society to coexist. And then that just becomes a code of conduct and becomes the law at a macro level. So really, law as a subject helps you sharpen your mind. It helps you sort of, strengthen your own understanding of various things. And then it also deepens your experience as you pursue this field. I think my own, I would say, experience would be that being both a litigating attorney and negotiating counsel now is people generally think law means it is some kind of a boring book of several pages and pages of clauses and documents written. We have to pour through it, we have to read it, and even after that we don't understand it. We buy gadgets every day which has a lot of fine print. We buy a lot of things in our life which we just have to click and accept so many terms and conditions. You walk into a mall, you have to keep on seeing so many boards that keep on giving you warnings. Either it is a wet floor, or it is a hot coffee, or it is, you have to constantly navigate and understand all these principles. And especially in the United States, it is taken very seriously for an individual to understand. Like they say in the field of law, ignorance of law is not excused. So you can't say that I did not know the law. I did not know that it was the law. As simple as being able to have the clarity of explaining and articulating what the principles are would probably be one of the challenge, because we are trying to interact with different kinds of people. Generally non-lawyers in my field. If I have to speak to a client, then that person is a non-lawyer. If it is a litigation, they've already come to a far end of the rope because they've tried everything before they come to court. If it is in the practice of just being an in-house lawyer, which I am today, then, I am trying to convince a bunch of business people or technology people or other customers on what they need to absorb from what the implication of a certain clause or a certain provision is. So to make people understand and articulate it in a way that they can absorb it, and also provide that articulation with good bit of clarity for them to be able to see value in what assistance is being provided. Those are all things that I see as, day-to-day activities that I have to circumvent or go through or have to face.
All right. That was a great perspective about law. Very helpful, Aparna, and glad that you also touched upon some of the key skills that you use as part of your as part of your job in day to day. So thank you for that. Off to Nathan. Would you be able to reflect on this question? Like what challenges do you solve, and what kind of skills you use?
Yes, as Aparna said, like when she goes to mall, she sees tons of gadgets and all the boards and everything. So think in terms of materials, right? So the world is materialistic, and everything that we use contains material. So that's where we come in. Like whenever we talk about creating a new phone, new product, everything, what kind of materials to use, and technically how the materials interact. So that is the technical aspect of the career that I come in. So to understand the material interactions, and when we design the new product, how that product is going to be used by the user in the field. Like if you take your iPhone, whatever, so how many times you are going to swipe the screen. So whether that material can withstand that number of swipe, okay. So then what kind of materials we need to change? So understanding the material aspect of every gadget we use, and so identifying the problems, and then validating the problem, like whatever the problem we have identified, whether that will still exist for the material that we use, and working with the team, as Aparna said, like articulating and working with the team to convince the cross-functional team. We have to work with mechanical engineer, we have to work with electrical engineers, because the electrical engineers, they know the aspect of their specialty, but we bring in the material science aspect to that same electrical component. So, so working with the team, so those are some of the opportunities and challenges in this area. That's what keeps us very engaged with the cross-functional team and then bring the product that you guys love.
That was awesome, Nathan. As you were speaking, I was looking on my table and seeing that there's so many varieties of materials that were there that I see every day, and it's awesome to hear that how problem solving and teamwork and communication becomes very important when in pretty much every profession. Thank you for that perspective. Off to Ashok Panneerselvam.
So my job, what we do is we design and analyze clinical trials and data coming from medical field, right? So one of the key things we have to have is the interaction with expertise from other fields, especially the clinical team, which consists of MDs and doctors from the who explain us what they would like to design and what what problem they have in terms of like a question on the data they have. So that interaction, that communication, where we need to, like Aparna said, talking to people who are not in your field and talking to them in their terms is the most important thing in our aspect. And then the other thing is about understanding where the data came from and understanding the nature of the data, the kind of analysis they request, and the interrelation between the different factors which go into our modeling is very important. So we need to have an understanding of the field other than what you are actually in expertise in. So that is one of the other things which really helps as a statistician, especially when you are working with other people. And then basically, I mean, the basic understanding of methodology is very much needed so that you are using the right method to answer the problem with the right analysis. And once you have that, then interpretation of it, and then putting that back to the people who asked the question in a layman's term, explaining them what is your finding, that is a key aspect of it. So all these put together, I think one of the main things which we use and which is actually very challenging as well as the skill set is communication, and communication in a way where everybody can understand your technical terms in a non-technical way.
Awesome. So looks like you're so much surrounded by data and you do a lot of discovery, from your analysis. It sounds very interesting. And being a mom of a high schooler myself, I hear so much about the booming field of data science and, the interjection of data analytics into pretty much every field. So thank you for sharing those perspectives. Off to Sridevi, please.
Yeah, challenges. I wouldn't actually call that as a challenge at all, because I see that as an opportunity to learn. And that's how I think everybody who's, who is kind of in this level of, professional level should be able to like think as outside the box. And especially like seeing this problem solving in terms with, when we take students. How are they solving their problems? One could be like really very stressful and they would just give up, or they would just ask for help. And the third one is like, the one who goes on independently trying to solve a problem without giving up. So these are the three levels that, we all go through in all aspects of life. And in we always will have to remember what's the end goal. So there is a problem. Yes, we can see that. But what's the end goal that we want to achieve from this? Is a temporary kind of a, fixing that problem, or a permanent fix that we want to see? And I think I particularly chose this field because I kind of troubleshoot day in and day out. With my, instrumentation, with my data, with my experiments, with laboratory, whatever, skills that I actually kind of put my full effort in. I use that to be able to like troubleshoot. And you won't believe if I say I have spent almost a day fixing my analyzer, and I didn't want to give up on it. But But, as we see this as a complex thing, as people even take it up as a subject to be able to deliver the message to the students, how we actually solve a problem. It's very simple. You record data. You cannot achieve that on your first go. You record the data and you learn. You kind of have a, thinking about it. So what did go wrong with my troubleshooting? And the next day you go on about it. You trying to cut off all the negative things and do something different. Repeating the same thing will only give you mistakes. So, you just kind of record your data in the process till you achieve your end goal. And this is how I see troubleshooting in my field as. And this is very important for every, student that I want to say. Don't give up. Record your data. If you repeat the same mistake, you don't expect a different result. You expect the same result, which is failure. So you have to make your deviations, a little bit of corrections, and think overnight, be able to soak up the information, read your articles, and do it differently the next day. So this is how I see my troubleshooting as, and it always works. So yeah.
Thank you, Sridevi. So it looks like clearly your work involves a lot of multidisciplinary skills, it's a bit of data analysis and a lot of, hands-on instrumentation and testing and problem solving. So it's very, very interesting to see that how, this multitude of skills are being applied across different fields. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, so those were great responses, and I'm going to move on to the next question.
Raja, just one question from the audience. Actually, people
Okay, sure, Srini, go ahead.
So people are interested in knowing how long you guys are in the job every day. So they wanted to know your experience, how long you've been in the field actually. So any one of the panelists can answer this.
Yes.
I have been minimum of 8 hours, which is expected to be. And then it depends on your own interest, what you want to do outside those 8 hours. And depends on, if you want to go a little bit of an extended time, work on it, you still can cut short. There is always, you have to balance your life with your career. So I'm very strict on that. So I spend some time with my family, and mine is 8 hours strictly.
Right. Thank you, Sridevi. Is there any other panelist who would like to share? Answer.
I can chime in from the material science perspective. I have experience working for academia as well as corporate now. So in academia, it's it's all your interest. Okay, so I worked for the US government labs, they're called Argonne National Lab, and you can leave after 3 p.m. or you can work until 8 p.m. So but you will have that passion. So once you have that, in research, if you are in R&D, sometimes it's very difficult for you to say that I want to close everything by 5 o'clock. Your reaction might not stop at 5 o'clock.
Sure.
Okay, so you have to be flexible. When I was in academia, when I say academia, all my research, everything was publication focused. Okay. So now when I moved to the corporate sector, Apple or Google, it's all at the end of the day, what they are looking for is whatever I do, can they convert that into dollar amount? So it doesn't matter if I spend 3 hours at work or 30 hours or 20 hours at work. As long as I bring money to the company, that's what they need. So it's up to you how efficient you are going to be. If you can get your job done in 3 hours, I don't have to, there is no time in the seat, hours in the seat calculations here. So it's flexible. But most of the time, with the load of work that you will get, about the multiple projects, the time constraints, everything, that will make you sit beyond 8 hours in the office.
Nathan, you actually brought out two interesting points which are very important for high schoolers. One on time management, the other one is on passion. They say, right, if you're passionate about what you're doing, you don't work a single day. So, we could feel that. Although this is remote, we could feel that from what you said, Nathan. And and time management is such a critical skill that all of us are learning how to, kind of balance things out, like what Sridevi said and what you said. Amazing. Thank you for that. And Srini, I'm going to move on with the next question that we have. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not sure how many of the panelists had the opportunity to work with some interns or freshers who come in, or maybe you can imagine yourself being a fresher, like when you went fresh in the field. We're curious to hear, what kind of skills are actually looked in incoming trainees or interns in your field. What kind of skills do you look for them? Because there are many high school students who are wanting to do summer internships, and even undergraduates who want to do some internships. So it's very important for them to hear out, like, what kind of skills do these interns and trainees have to carry? Aparna, do you want to give it a start?
Sure. I think that's a great question. I think what I'd say is, for high school students, right? I mean, even if I'm hiring somebody who has 10 years of experience, one of the questions we ask sometimes in the interview is, what sales experience do you have from your high school days, or early college days or university days? Because some of these skills that these kids pick up when you work at a pharmacy or at a sales desk or at a gas station, for example, there are all these skills, that soft skills that you do pick up, and they help you in your career, in whatever field you choose. And you can apply them in multivarious forms, just interface skills in your ability to think on your feet, your ability to articulate, your ability to problem solve. Just think of that situation that you're in. All of this help if you have that real world experience, how small or big it may be. In general, I think my thought process would be that you want, in the field of law, but in any field generally, would have been a macrocosmic to a microcosmic view. You must know what the big picture is, and try to absorb what that is. What is the goal of what this particular action or job that you're trying to do is trying to achieve. Understand that big picture, then also be able to get to the micro aspect of it. Know what is it that your exact role is. When we study for the bar exam here in the US, or they'd give this example of saying, first see the forest, then identify the trees, then identify the branches. Or they would say, learn how to peel the layers of the onion. The problem looks very big when you look at it as is, but when you start chipping it off little by little, then there is that ability to see A, the details, B, the full picture of it, and C, then you also have that joy of being able to discover. And that leads to a lot of joy in the sense of what you can bring to the table in terms of your abilities. If the subjects are already codified, at least for law, I can speak, the laws are already written. But then the courts are interpreting them every day. If you drive a car on the street, you constantly have to tell, we tell our children, don't jaywalk. See, if you drive this way when you turn 16, you'll get a ticket. Now they need to understand all this on a daily basis. Now, how do we apply this? If you can understand the purpose of why these laws are there, then if you can understand how it applies to you as an individual and how it empowers and enables the society around you. Some other skills would be, just agile thinking, being able to have that agility in how you think. And today, in these days, we hear a lot of children saying, oh, I'm very stressed out. I have so much to do. There is a lot of work that the school gives us or the university gives us and all that. I think, like some of the panelists mentioned, find your passion. And if you are excited about it, then time will not count and you will be able to drive yourself. Some of the greatest, founders and all these Bay Area organizations that have Indian CEOs, if you hear them, they'll all say the same thing, right? That it just excited them so much. Just the idea excited them so much. And that's why they are where they are. So I would think some of these skills really help.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Aparna. I really the takeoff on, looking at the big picture and then zooming in, understanding the overall purpose and what's the value, and then getting into the details and taking that initiative to know what impact you can, what is the role and what are the things that you have to do is very, very valuable. Ashok, Panneerselvam, do you think you can share your perspective?
So, as an intern or a fresher, actually, it depends on what level we are looking for. I mean, if we are looking for somebody from with a bachelor's or who are doing a master's or PhD, the skill sets really vary. But one thing which is common, which we would like to look for, is the eagerness to learn, and whether they are able to come in with the eagerness to actually learn something rather than just have something their resume. So that is the key thing. And also we will be looking for somebody who has done something like a problem solving, where they are able to come up with ideas and come up with ways of resolving something. And also somebody who is very much a go-getter. Basically, they are able to navigate through issues and go with whatever they are willing to or is assigned to. So these are some things which we definitely look for when we are either an intern or even a hire. We will be looking for these. Of course, the technical skills are there, and again, as I said earlier, I mean, one of the main soft skills is able to talk to people and communicate and understand what the other people are asking out of you. So these will be very important.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, I think you're roping into the desire to learn, to problem solve, to ideate. Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. What about Sridevi? Do you have anything to share on this question?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a lot actually that the interns who are actually these days come looking for experience to kind of, bulk up their resume. They have a lot of experience already in school, and in case if they have their graduates, they have these, those little projects that they have given at the end of the year, or maybe every 2 quarters or something like that, So we are actually looking for little projects that they have done to be able to understand their capabilities and skills, and if they have this focus on detail, especially for laboratory setting, we're actually looking, have they taken any, any interest in recording the data, recording the project procedure, and what led to this picking up this particular project, and what kind of stimulated them. And we will ask them to a little bit of explain or showcase the project during the interview we have, and what skills that was applied in making of the project. And also to be able to to understand the social kind of behavior, and how well they are able to communicate with their colleagues and other staff. May it be they could have worked in a food chain, restaurant, or gas station, or anywhere at a cashier's desk. What problems did they actually have from these customers, and how did they solve that? So these are the skills that we're actually saying at that point of, with the social kind of communication level. So as such, the technical aspects of that, they're going to learn, but mainly all these are the things that will kind of add up to their resume. So we are seeing for that kind of skills in them, to be able to learn and pay attention to detail, focus on things, be able to record data, and be more responsible with whatever they're handling, and how they are being, there's safety precautions everywhere in the lab, and how well they are able to kind of notice that precautions and be able to kind of adapt and take on in the lab is most important. And that's what we're actually looking for an intern in the laboratory.
Awesome, Sridevi. A lot of what you explained, resonate. I'm sure it's going to resonate a lot with high school students, because at this level they are doing lab work, they are doing, some writing lab reports and doing research work and problem solving and all those things. So it's very clear that these kind of skills actually build up and gets used in your career. Yeah, awesome. Nathan, would you want to respond to this question, mainly from the academia perspective, because you might be You might be, you would have seen high school students probably in academia too. It's part of your research in the labs. Any perspectives on that?
That's right. So exactly, like so in academia, when I was at the national labs, we have had a few high school students join as an intern, summer intern, and doing some research there. So for a material science department, unlike like law, like if you want to become a lawyer, you study law, right? So for the material science, what we call it is the melting pot of physics, chemistry, and biology. So whatever the background you have, whatever the interest or you have in any one of these areas, you can be a material scientist. When we receive such applications for intern or freshers, first thing what we look for is the interpersonal skills, right? So one is the technical side. So the technical side, how you are going to articulate, how you are going to explain any simple concept, like if, it can be Newton's first law, or it can be the movie that you watched last weekend. So how clearly, how do you see the big picture, and whether you can deliver a crisp summary of whatever you learned, right? So that's and then how much you are able to apply what you learned into the real case scenario that we provide. So those will be very simple questions we ask to our applicants, and when they are able to articulate in such a way that they can combine their technical knowledge to the real world scenarios, that's what we will look for. So whoever does the best, they get into the pool.
Okay. Awesome. So interesting that, they it's kind of resonating again, like, the kind of work that they do, how much they apply themselves, how much do students apply themselves during their high school years into doing these kind of, lab work and research work, or even the part-time, job opportunities that they get, how much they apply themselves into it and what they learn out of it and how they're able to connect the dots. It's kind of clear that that these skills are used across the fields. Awesome, thank you so much, Nathan. That was very helpful. Now we have a question that's going to take you back in a little bit into your college times. But before that, Srini, do we have any questions that we need to address from the audience?
Actually, move on. So there is one coming, so we can go after this.
All right. Looks like there is a raised hand from one of the hosts. Kumar, do you have a question?
Not question, just one. I think, thank you for, I think the Bay Area Tamil Mandram, this is the first time initiating this through steering committee. Thank you, Shini and Supraja. And the parents who are all listening, and you can also, I think this is a similar thing is we are going to run multiple time. And if any of the career or scientists or panelists, I think you can reach out them to provide your recommendation. We can do that more for our community. Really appreciate it. Again, I want to thank our panelists. They are doing a pretty awesome job. Really appreciate it. You can continue.
Thank
you very much, Kumar. Thank you for bringing that.
There's one actually, so probably we can just finish this one off. People
sure,
are asking.
go ahead.
It is a similar question actually. If you take biotechnology as a major, what is the recent career opportunity in that field? So it's something related to the same thing. What lead you to decide what major would you take in college, right? So, I mean, not necessarily bio. I mean, any panelists can actually answer to this.
Yeah, for biotechnology, you should have a very sound background of chemistry, biology, and mathematics. These are the three important subjects that would really make a big entry into this particular field, I would say. And there are a lot of colleges around that actually, if you're going to be, if you're not going to take engineering, in biotechnology, that's fine. And if you're going to like major in biology, even that will lead into biotechnology or chemistry, biological science. All these three majors are going to lead you to take a career path in biotechnology. So you should have a very sound background of chemistry, biology, and math.
Srini, do we have any other panelists who want to share the connection between major and the?
Yeah, I think one of your panelists can answer to that. So what lead you to decide what major you would like in the college actually?
I can get started. Actually, my career, when I look back at what I did and how I did, it's basically driven by my interest. So back in the high school, I was very much interested in math, and something which I really enjoyed. I used to get kicks out of doing problems in probability and permutation combination. I really enjoyed that. But I went with the popular choice of getting into the engineering back in India, and I did my mechanical engineering from Osman University. And though I really enjoyed doing all the engineering mechanics and fluid dynamics, etc., but what really interested me was the operation research, which had the need for problem solving and optimization. And with that interest, I decided to come to US to do a master's in operations research. I came to University of Alabama, where there was a department of operations research to pursue my master's. Fortunately, or looking at it, it's fortunate now, but at that time, unfortunately, the professor who was there heading that division left the department, and I was forced to do a master's in statistical quality control. I did that. I really enjoyed that. It was very much in my liking. But when I started looking for a job and what my career path would be, I thought a PhD was appropriate for me to go forward. So that led to a choice of whether it was a PhD in pure statistics or some kind of applied one. And I decided to do applied statistics, and which is basically biostatistics, one of them. I chose that, and since then, no regrets. I really enjoy what I do, and I enjoy every day of my work. And there is a strong feeling of accomplishment as well whenever there is a drug which gets approved and which we work on, and it is useful to be treating somebody, extending somebody's life. That really is a good motivation, and basically a career which is driven by interest.
Thank you. One last question, I think we can go on. So how do you guys balance your professional and your personal life balance? So any panelist can answer to this.
This is a great, actually, sorry, if anybody want to go ahead with this question.
No, go ahead, Sridevi.
Yeah, this is actually a great question that, not all of us have actually kind of gotten to the right answer for this. As everybody said, this is absolutely your passion. That is, that's actually kind of, is bringing you to this sort of at a professional standpoint. So how much are you going to give for that profession? How much time are you going to give for the profession? How much time are you going to give for your family? Is the most important. That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And that's up to you entirely to choose those hours. So say, for example, in my field, I can only speak for biotechnology at this point. In my field, I have to work minimum of, at least 8 to 10 hours. You can choose the daylight, or you can work, 5 hours, 6 hours during the day, come back home, enjoy with your family, have a nice dinner, after everybody go to bed, they, when they go to bed, you can continue your work. So basically it's like of how much you can be on site and how much you want to do off site. There is a very, very good planning that you have to put in this sort of a profession, because anything that requires time and effort and being there in person should be done at work. So meeting people, of course, COVID was completely, a thumbs down for this sort of jobs, but we were actually working offline too. And some of the laboratory, technicians and research scientists have to be in person to be able to, keep the ball rolling. So what do? You have to be there. So in person. So you just kind of calculate that, be there in person, then come back and do your job, and also, try to enjoy the family here at home. So this is how you try to kind of balance it. And this is what you learn from experience and from your job, and what is expected of you and how much you can give. As long as the bosses are happy, I think you should also be happy. That's what actually keeps you happy and your family happy. So it all starts from your profession and how much you can give for that your passion in that profession, basically. And that's how I see that as.
I have a slightly different take. I think at a young age, first thing is learn how to analyze time. If you can be on top of your schedule, first have a schedule, then be on top of your schedule, and don't let things mix, right? Professional life, personal life, you must know when it is creeping into one another. And in general, if you have a time management skill for how you do things, you can develop that. And when you develop that, it slowly sets a pace for yourself. You will see that, parents telling us when we are younger, saying you have to be disciplined, you have to be on time, you have to practice your whatever that you're learning, you should do your homework on. All these actually are long-term impacts, right? If you wake up on time in the morning, and if you do go through your school routine, then that's going to be the same that you apply in your job. So how do you manage and how do you balance? Balance is, we are balancing every day. We're constantly making decisions and choosing between one or the other. So it's a question of, I think, some kind of a scheduling, time management that will help you. Also have passions in life. Work is there. I always tell some of my team members, it's a job at the end of the day. You've got to have a life beyond that. And so, when you're separate, when a lot of us talk about you have to separate your personal life and professional life, we talk a lot at our workplaces saying you need to have a work-life balance. What does that even mean, right? I know of a lot of colleagues of mine, I would even joke saying, hey, if the company shuts down for 10 days and doesn't function, what will you do? Because some of them always run behind the timelines and the work, and that's what drives them. Then you find a vacuum when you don't have anything to do at work. There are a lot of organizations that mandatorily ask you to take time off. And that is just because they want you decompress, they want you to come back refreshed and all of that. So it's a question of you having a good time management plan.
Sure.
And stay disciplined.
True. Yeah, time management is most important, actually. You get to do your job, and plus you have time for your family, and you go for your activities, your hobby, your trekking or swimming, or what you want to do outside your profession. Have some time for that to be able to, stay online. So that's most important. It's actually striking the balance between the two.
Thank you, Aparna and Sridevi. We actually got to hear. We actually got to hear how some subjects in school led into your majors and careers from Sridevi and Ashok. We'd like to hear that from Nathan and also from Aparna. How did you discover your interest in this career? Was it in high school or was it in college? What prompted it? Nathan, would you like to take a start?
Yeah, for me, I think I can look back and say that, like in my high school, or what we call in India higher secondary school, my +1 +2 time, I had a great physics teacher. Okay, so he explained the physics concept in such a way that really triggered my interest, like for the subject. And on the other hand, I had very keen interest in chemistry lab. Like when I mix these two, it gives this color there. Okay, but the chemistry teacher was not so good. So I got to put my own time to learn chemistry by myself, and the physics teacher. So, but from that moment, I think in those days, I know that like I want to study physics, physical science they call, but I didn't know where that would lead me to a career. There was no such like this kind of panel discussion. There was no any elderly person whom I can talk to get some idea. So then I started, let's say like I entered the science curriculum. I went to my bachelor's degree. Then as I walked into one phase to other phase, automatically the multiple gates opened up. Then I got to choose whether I want to go to do master's degree here. Then suddenly the PhD opportunity came. I got opportunity in come to US, go to New Zealand, or go to Singapore, or go to Germany. So, but it was not there when I didn't even think about that when I was in my high school or higher secondary school, right? The same thing. Once I got my PhD, I didn't know, like what I knew was I wanted to be in academia. I went to academia, I spent some time, then other opportunity doors opened up. So what I wanted to tell to the students is, right now, you know your passion. So like some people, they clearly say that that's what, that's how I was. Like, I didn't want to do any biology stuff. I didn't want to do the dissections, open up and take the heart or anything, right? So like that, the students may be very clear about what you don't want to do, at least. So some students, they are still, most of students I speak to, they say, I don't know what I want to do. Okay, but they know what they don't want to do. Okay, so at least remove the item that you don't want to do and focus on what you want to do. And once you get into something, it will automatically, then you may not see how many doors waiting for you to enter. Once you enter, you will have multiple options open. So get started.
What a great insight, Nathan. Actually, it's very much your response is very much needed for all the high school students, because there is a lot of thing in the air here, at least in the high school here. Like, you need to know which career you want to go. You need to choose your major according to that, and it feels like the road is like kind of laid out. It's all fixed. Well, that's really not the case. And we have these wonderful expert panelists who have taken, who have been so adaptable and who have embraced, the things that have come our way. So thank you so much for bringing that out, because it's very essential for all the high school students, to think that it's not like you fix something today and that's it for forever. It's not like that. I really liked your tip on at least put cross on things like, you're not very inclined to do it. So you have remaining options and go with the flow, so be adaptable and be embracing, coupled with all the other skills that you said, like, seek for knowledge, have a learning attitude, explore, and all that is going to help us carve out our path. Thank you so much, Nathan. That was very, very helpful. Off to you, Aparna. What prompted you to enter into this career?
I have a good story, actually. Becoming a lawyer was always a career passion for me. I think right from my very early school days, I have no lawyers in my family background. Like any other Indian family brought up, being told you should either go for engineering or go in for medicine. Luckily, my parents did not, although my father was an engineer himself, or is an engineer, but he never, drove me to think that I should only do this or that. Law became a passion just because my grandfather was the head of the village, and he used to sit solving problems for the village people. And I used to think, oh, this is very good. If I can help people, and if I can do something that will, provide them some justice along the way, then that is what I want to do. So that's how I pursued law. In fact, when I came into my high school days, and when I was moving into choosing the subjects, in those days, it wasn't very clear about having defined legal subjects in your school. So today we have legal studies as a subject. At the time, we used to do history, we used to do economics, we used to do advanced English, these type of subjects to hone our skills towards the direction of studying law as a career path and as a subject. Today we have legal studies, and you know what, the generation today is so fortunate. They have so much information, they have so much access to information, they have so much ability to not just participate in panels like this, but to just read up on material and know of different people who have pursued different career paths. In my days, my father used to bring me book of philosophers, book of great lawyers for me to read. And that's how I apparently was going to get inspired to become a professional in that path. But I think my own journey has been pretty simple. I chose it because it drove me as a passion, and eventually it helped me to get to where I am today. I only wanted to be a litigating attorney, to be honest. And so I was that for 8 years in India, and I used to have a lot of practicing clients, and I thought one day I'm going to become a judge. And I thought that was the greatest pinnacle to reach and everything. I got the opportunity to come to this country and study international law, understand cross-border laws, understand how cross-border businesses are done. If you think of it, United States is a 50-state conglomerate where there is federal law, there is state law, there is conflict of laws within the states. So even though we call what is called a common law country, where the judiciary or the judges have the authority to choose to judicially review the laws, unlike some statute law countries, which they call civil law countries like Germany, where the judges have to just apply the law. They can't interpret it and change. But India, UK, America are all common law countries, as we call, and the judges have the power to change. Today there are so many cases going on that are getting challenged day in and day out. And those are all because the judges have that power to change. Now, because of that interest, I pursued these subjects, and as I came into the university days, I could hone in more into legal studies related subjects, and that really helped me to carve my path in my career.
Truly an inspirational story. So as you were saying this story, I was like imagining like young Aparna being around her grandfather and then watching and like, yay, I have to be here one day. I mean, like so organically developed interest, and it's great that you had the support of your parents to let you do what you wanted to do. That's really a gift, Aparna. And so very happy that you are making a big impact on so many students here who are also thinking of law as an option. And like you said, it's here we have law even in high school as one of the elective subject for students to explore. So it's great that there are these resources, and like what Nathan also said, there are these career panels, there are great mentors. So yeah, all that we
I think today they have an information explosion. They have a problem. So much information.
Yeah. All right. Let's Srini, do we have any question, or can we move on to just probably like one or two last questions?
Yeah, I think you can go.
Right. So this is like really taking you back to your high school times. Not necessarily academic, but even, students here do a lot of extracurricular activities. Like, they do speech and debate, they do dance, they do art, they like a lot of things, right? So this question is coming more from that angle. Are you able to recall any extracurricular activities that you did in your high school? The kind of you feel that it was helpful even in your college times or even in your career times. For example, Steve Jobs had mentioned about, all the calligraphy and all those things that he learned that was helpful for him in his career. So just from extracurricular activities standpoint, is there anything that you would like to highlight? Any of the panelists?
I can share, but maybe if anybody else wants to.
No, go ahead, Aparna.
Yeah, so mine is I have benefited enormously from my extracurricular activities. I've been into classical Carnatic music. I sing and I perform, and that has enabled me and helped me a lot to, some of the questions asked, work-life balance, finding something else to do, and, having that passion for it. Now, relevant to my career, I think I will share something funny that, we had all these oratorical competitions, debate competitions in school. And I used to be sent to all those speech and writing competitions that were organized by the school. There was also one competition that what used to be called Just a Minute, means they'll give you a minute and they'll give you a topic and you'll just have to speak on it. I remember there was a topic given to me saying, in those days, Zia-ul-Haq was the president of Pakistan. And there was a topic given to me saying, Donald Duck and Zia-ul-Haq in a garbage truck. Go, 1 minute. Now you have to think and come up with a speech that you can make up for a minute that is interesting, convincing, and very witty. As that went by, as I went into my high school days, my father used to send me to these public speaking courses. Now all this was actually preparing me towards being an attorney who needed to have the skills to write well and to speak well and be able to convey whatever you are trying to convey in a more succinct manner. So I think some of this are I would highly recommend everyone to have a lot of these passions that you need to keep honing, because A, they help you towards your sharpening your career skills. B, they give you a vent or another approach to what else you can do other than the job. C, it actually contributes. In fact, in your school and college applications, they constantly ask, what else are you doing? Do you have volunteering experience? Do you have any other, extracurricular activities that you participate in? Because that obviously sharpens your skills in very soft ways, but in different ways. And then most importantly, like I said, somewhere in between, you must have something to do beyond your job. That is also very exciting, a hobby that is honed with a little more skill that keeps you excited and passionate in life in general. That can be hiking, trekking, running, decathlons. I don't know, there are a lot of things they do in this country that you come across that is very, very, nobody goes on a vacation without an activity here, right? So when you hear that, you kind of feel, man, this is all skills that really help you and keep your energies positively charged.
Thank you, Aparna. I saw that in the chat and someone was asking about like sports. Has anyone done extracurricular activity sports and found that helpful?
I can chime in here.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Nathan.
So when I was in school, I used to be a professional cricket player. I played for I was Ranji Trophy probable, that's one of the high level cricket tournament in India. And I also used to university level chess player. So what that means is so the cricket and chess, I played at higher level there. Those kind of taught me to work as a team and also to be patient, to accept failures. So it's not, I'm not going to be always winning there, right? So as Aparna said again, after coming to California, I'm doing quite a bit of hiking. So the hiking, when I say it is all very long and very, very endurance hiking. So that requires I'm talking about 14, 16 hours of hike at a stretch, right? So again, we start when you talk about hiking on Everest Base Camp, it looks so big of a tall task, but then you break it down to 10 days, then you do it part by part. That's what, whenever I look at a project that was given to my department, first it looks like a very big project. It's not going to be accomplished with the resources that I have. Then I break it down into small pieces. Then at the end of the day, when we finish that project before that timeline. So I can relate to my sports activity to my career in many incidents.
Sure.
I was not an active sports person, but something related to sports which really helped me was when I was doing my master's, they selected me as the president of the Cricket Association for West of Alabama. A bunch of Indian students, they formed the association and then they selected me as a president for that. I mean, maybe because I knew multiple South Indian languages, I can speak Hindi as well. So maybe that triggered them to select me. And I spent about a year there, a lot of negotiations. I mean, a lot of negotiations with people, a lot of talking to them, making them understand what they're trying to do there, and convincing them. Also negotiating with the actual university authorities to provide us with the funds to play and funds to buy our facility. So this actually, when I think back about it, it really helped me. It really helped me in talking to people, coming up and negotiating and convincing people. This helped me in my career. So initially, when this opportunity came by, I was like, "Why are you selecting me?" But it really helped me. It really helped me. Thinking back, I mean, if such an opportunity comes by, please take it as a challenge, and that will really help you going forward.
Awesome. Sports, shaping up character and building personality traits that can actually be helpful in career. Awesome. Sridevi, where did you want to respond to this question as well?
No, sports being an option these days, I mean, when I was at school, it wasn't an option. You will have to spend an hour a day, pick a, in whatever sports activity that you're interested in, pick an activity, and you have your own instructor and you do that. And this happened every day. So every day about 45 to 50 minutes at school, you end up picking up an activity and playing. But, although I hated it because I was more, more academically inclined person and showed less of an interest, towards these activities, this kind of shaped me a lot. I mean, I can really tell these students who are in this event at the moment, just go and play outside. This helps in team building. This helps you in communication. And as Nathan said, you don't win always, you lose, but you kind of live with it. You understand, you do better next time. I used to play basketball and badminton, and my friends used to play completely different activity. And I always wanted to go play, whatever my friends played. That's what kind of, motivated me. But at that time, although I didn't realize the importance of an extracurricular activity at your school, it definitely played a very important role in my career. So I would just encourage everybody to take up an activity and just have sports as a hobby, at least one. Sure.
Thank you very much. So if not, there are further questions on the Q&A. Since time is running out, we can bring the session to an end. Srini, are there any further questions?
We have one last actually. So, I mean, I think we already ran out of time. So let's take this as a last one. So,
okay, sure.
Okay. How important is to build the people skills for your career? So,
so if you hear from all the panelists, so everybody, like you be a lawyer or a statistician or a biotechnologist, so everybody said one common thing is people skill. So so the interpersonal skill, irrespective of whatever the area you choose, so even beyond these for 4 areas, whatever there are so numerous other sectors, whatever the area you go, the interpersonal skill is going to be the number one requirement. That's how I see it. So other panelists.
Very much true. You said that very well. It is a very essential part of our jobs and careers. And wherever we go, whichever career path you choose, you will have to talk to people, to work with teams, and communicate with people who are not in your field in a non-technical terms. So all these needs a good interpersonal skills and able to work with them is very important. And developing that at a very young age is always helpful.
Thank you very much. So with that being said, we have come to the end of today's event. And I know that we went over the time a little bit because we had to start a little bit late due to the YouTube streaming and all that technical stuff. But I really, really appreciate, and thanks to the panelists. That was an awesome round of panel discussion. Very, very interesting, very inspiring, and insightful to our participants and all of us, because, it breaks open some of those myths, some of those beliefs that it has to be this way, it has to be that way, especially, here, like, oh, you like math, then this is your field. Oh, you like only chemistry, then this is your field. It's not like that. It's very interdisciplinary, and there are a lot of other skills besides your technical skills that come into play when you actually do things in the at the job. And finding what you like to do, it's a journey, and it's not like a one-click decision during your high school. So many interesting insightful advice and guidance for our participants. So we're very thankful to the panelists for doing this with us today and for taking your time. And as on behalf of the San Francisco Bay Area Tamil Mandram, and especially the Youth Leadership Steering Committee of the Bay Area Tamil Mandram, we are incredibly thankful for your time and support. This is a remarkable start because we do have plans to host many more sessions from more other fields in the coming months. So big thank you to the panelists for giving us this awesome start. And we also want to thank our Bay Area Tamil Mandram Executive Committee members who have always been there to support us and to guide us, and also the BATM volunteers for your incredible support. Thank you all the students and the parents for your participation today. Great questions in the chat. And Srini will also be posting the email ID to which, like Aparna said, there was a lot of information. So you go and assimilate it, and you have further questions on specific fields. Please do send us an email, and we will direct it to the panelists and get the response. So Srini will be sharing that with you all. And we really hope to see you all in the upcoming sessions too. And a big heartfelt thanks from BATM. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So I think wrapping up, closing, Supraja, thank you again, and Srini. One thing is I want people are listening, thank you to the panelists. Just remember to ask, I always tell, you want to strip it for a day or forever? If you don't know, please ask. That way, anybody can learn, and great opportunity, and at least make use of a team. Please share this information to your colleague, friends, and everybody. That will be really wonderful. And thank you again doing this great panelist today. And it's we made a big impact to the community. Appreciated. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you all, chief guests. Thank you.